Welcome back to the RLE channel. What a great weekend of rugby league we had. It was the end of the regular round. We saw 80 tries across the 8 games. If you didn't get a chance to watch any of the games, go to the NRL website and watch the highlights because there were some amazing tries scored. Always controversial games and decisions in the game as usual due to the bunker. So go have a look at the games if you haven't already had a chance to check them out. The first game we had was the Broncos against the Storm at Suncorp Stadium. I predicted the Melbourne Storm to win this one quite comfortably. The game finished 30 points to 14. Jerome Hughes, he went off with an arm injury for the Storm. Big Nelson Solomona, he got sin-binned, a shoulder charge against Ben Tolte. Saw him sit out for 10 minutes just before half time, so that didn't help matters from the Storm. The Broncos, Reece Walsh, he bagged a double try. He stood up, took some leadership in the absence of halfback Adam Reynolds. The Broncos, they go to Canberra this weekend to play them. If they lose, then they'll play again. If not, they're advanced on and they'll get a week off. The Melbourne Storm, they'll be glad to be back at Amy Park this weekend. They'll play the Bulldogs in a tough game. Craig Bellamy does have some selection headaches as Nelson got sin-binned and has been charged with a 4-game ban. I believe he might get that down to 3 if he's lucky, but he'll be missing, and Jerome Hughes will be out for the rest of the finals, rest of the season as well. So yeah, Craig Bellamy will have to have a reshuffle with his side, and but we'll see what happens with the Storm this weekend. The next game we had was the Manly Sea Eagles at Four Pines Park Stadium. So Daly Cherry Evans was finishing up. He's going to the Roosters in some sort of role next year. We don't know whether he's going to be playing or coaching or etc. etc. So, but the Seagulls wanted to give him a good send-off, and it was a controversial game. We had the quickest try of the year, scored in under 10 seconds. The ball kicked off, bounced. And then bounced right into the in-goal area, and James Fisher-Harris put the ball down to score the quickest try. I believe it was 10 seconds. Absolutely crazy, madness. There was also 2 sin-bins at the end of the game, which was controversial, was the Warriors looked definite to score a try at the end of the game. Tom Dravovic was one of those sin-bins, and Jazz Tabunga as well for messing around in the ruck as well. He was sin-binned for that. The Manly Sea Eagles won this one 27-26. Both the Manly Sea Eagles seasons finished, so they'll be glad to see the back of 2025. They did miss out on a top eight finish. The Warriors, they play the Penrith Panthers this weekend at home in Auckland. They'll be fired up and wanting a better performance. The Panthers will be going for 5 in a row, so the Warriors are going to have to be ready, because whoever loses this one, the season's finished. So should be very interesting game, this one at the weekend. Friday night's game was the Roosters and the Rabbits. I predicted that this will be a lot closer than what it was in the Sydney Derby. The game finished 36 points to 6. The Roosters ran away with it, really. They had Mark Nasasquazi scored a hat-trick. Daniel Tupou, Angus Crichton and Connor Watson all gone on the scoreboard in the second half. The Rabbits only managed 1 try in the first half. Then there was a sin bin straight after half-time. Jamie Humphries got done for a hit drop. And that one, the Bunnies will be glad to see the back of 2025. They've had lots of injuries, players playing out of position, lots of young kids playing as well. They had won a few games recently, but at least they didn't finish bottom of the table. The Roosters, they've got a tough game. They'll be playing Cronulla this weekend, so they play away at Cronulla. So they'll need all their bodies fit for that one. But it should be a very, very good game. That's an elimination game, so if either of those teams lose, their season will be finished. So we'll keep an eye on that one. The next game we had on Saturday was St George against the Panthers. I predicted this one that the Panthers would run riot. They won by 20 points in the end. They scored 7 tries to the Dragons 3. They scored tries in the second half through Lindsay Smith and Paul Alamodi and Papali'i. Nathan Cleary also bagged a try in the first half, set up tries left, right and centre as well. As I said, the Panthers go to the Warriors in Auckland, and if they lose, their season's over. Their dynasty could be over. A lot of people were predicting that they can't win again. So we'll wait and see what happens to that. St George, they've not had a great year either in 2025. They'll be looking forward to next year. They're playing Vegas, the first game of the season out there, so they'll be looking forward to 2026 with the Dragons. Next game up, we had the Titans against the West Tigers. So this was the bottom of the table clash, really. The Titans, they won this one, and another thriller of a game. There was 11 tries scored in this one. 5 tries in the first half came from the West Tigers, 2 from Royce Hunt forward. It was 28 points to 12 at half time. The Titans did bounce back and scored tries through Brian Kelly, Bo Fomal and AJ Brimson to win the game and send Des Hasler and Kieran Foran off. As Des Hasler, he's retiring from rugby league, apparently coaching, and Kieran Foran, the halfback, he's retiring. So yeah, thanks for your contribution in the game of rugby league in the NRL. So we look forward to the Titans next year to see what coach they get in and what player recruitment they get in. The Tigers, they had a much improved year this year under Benji Marshall. They added a few more recruits and some experience there with Jerome Luai in the half, so they've definitely helped them in an improved position than the wooden spoon last year for the West Tigers. Next up, so we had the Bulldogs and the Sharks. I predicted that the Sharks would run away with this quite convincingly, and they did. It was 18-0 at half time to the Sharks. The Bulldogs only managed 1 try in the second half. It finished 24 points to 6 to the Cronulla Sharks. They get home advantage this weekend against the Roosters, but it is an elimination final. So if the Roosters or the Cronulla Sharks lose, they'll be done for 2025. But Nico Hines, he got done for a hip drop in this one. He has been charged, but we'll wait and see the team news for this weekend's finals games before see anything for that. The next up we had last 2 games we had was the Dolphins and the Raiders on Sunday on Father's Day. We had at KO Stadium in Redcliffe, and there was a whopping 15 tries in this game. There was 11 scored from the Dolphins. I bet you can guess a few of the names who scored tries for the Dolphins. The Hammer So Tabio Fido. He finished second on the try scoring charts for 2025. He's had another great year. I love watching him play fullback or in the centres for the Dolphins. Mark Nichols grabbed a try. Jake Avarillo, also Ray Stone, scored tries for the Dolphins. James Sarko scored in the second half also. He bagged a try. The Raiders did have a weakened side out. They are minor premiers for this year, for 2025. They did rest players, so they won't be too concerned about the result, but they'll have to make sure they're ready for this weekend's game at home against the Broncos, as the Broncos will be fired up for that one. Dolphin season, theirs finished. They missed out on the top 8, but we're looking forward to next year to see how the Dolphins get on. They're always exciting to watch, and we hope they can get into the finals in their 3rd year in the NRL. Last but not least, we had the Parramatta Eels. They played Newcastle Knights at CommBank Stadium. It was the last game of the regular season, and this game was actually, there was 14 tries scored in this one. Newcastle Knights only scored 1 throughout the game. It was actually a crazy game. There was 3 tries from the Fox, Josh Addo-Carr. Dylan Brown in his final game for the Parramatta Eels, he scored 3 tries as well. Mitchell Moses also scored some tries. So the Eels, they didn't make the top 8. but maybe next year they can improve. There's no reason why they can't with Mitchell Moses staying fit, and they can push on, I believe, and get into the top 8 next year. The Knights, Adam O'Brien, he's finished as coach. Newcastle Knights will be looking to recruit somebody as soon as possible after they finished joint bottom with the Gold Coast Titans, but they did on goal difference get the wooden spoon. And just a shout out to the Cowboys who didn't play. Again, they didn't make the top 8. They had a bye this weekend, so they'll be looking forward to 2026 and improving and trying to get into the top 8 from there. Right, that's the roundup for the NRL last round for 2025. Also, just to let you guys know, ahead of the England-Australia Test Series at the end of the season, I will be giving away an Australian Rugby League jersey and also an England Rugby League jersey. All you guys have to do is like my Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow my Instagram as well. And then the week before the series kicks off, I'll announce the 2 winners, one for the Australian Rugby League shirt and one for the England Rugby League shirt as well. So keep following us. We'll bring you more and more videos as the weeks go by. Hopefully at the end of the year we'll have some interviews with some ex-players as well. So I'm working on that as well at the moment. So just stay tuned. So next up, we'll have the review of the English Super League games.